In 2018, a record number of scientists are running for office. This is precipitated, obviously, by Trump getting in there and having his entire cabinet are climate change deniers and rolling back all of this regulation and basically just saying, hey, oil company, go for it. Do whatever you want. So while I've talked about this before, it is very terrifying to have a lunatic jackwagon like Donald Trump in the White House, a little child with small thumbs that likes to tweet out nonsense because he's a spoiled rich kid asshole who's never worked a day in his life. And how working class people get behind him is beyond me. But the upside that I've talked about of having Trump is people paying attention. So a lot of scientists that have like, well, I don't want to get into politics. Who's got it? People have been saying that for years. I don't. The last job I would want is to be a politician. And now people are going, holy shit, that attitude has given us all these awful politicians. So I'm going to get more involved. I'm just going to read. There's a little article in grist.org, and there's a bunch of other articles below it I would highly recommend reading. But I'm just going to give you some numbers here and why I find this to be a very encouraging trend. A wave of candidates from science, technology, engineering, and STEM backgrounds are running for local and federal office in 2018. More than 60 STEM candidates have announced a bid for federal office, while almost 200 are running for state legislator and another 200 for local school boards, according to 314 Action, a political action committee. It's one good thing to come out of the Trump administration's attempt to wipe climate change from websites, silence experts, and generally take scientific censorship to the next level. Like, it doesn't exist. There's another article below it that I'll reference too. So the Pentagon, at Trump's behest, removed climate change because the Pentagon had been, since the Bush administration, if not earlier rather, had been factoring in climate change as how it will affect the nation's security. And I'll read you this right here. The Pentagon has then put it back in there, which is really pretty interesting, right? There is currently a small number of STEM representatives in Congress. One PhD physicist, one microbiologist, and a handful of engineers, says Ted Bordeleon, 314's director of communications. More than 7,000 potential candidates have reached out to 314, and it's trained nearly 1,500 of them. The scientist candidates won't have it easy. Some are challenging incumbents who are generally favored, and some opponents will have financial support from the fossil fuel industry, obviously, and the Koch brothers, who are spending $400 million on the election this year. The Koch brothers. They are hell-bent on destroying this planet and killing everybody on it, just so they can have private jets or something. Maybe they built some moon base where they can, I don't know, kill poor people in space or something. Shaughnessy Naughton, founder and president of 314, says that's to be expected. There's basically a direct correlation between money that the fossil fuel industry spends on candidates and their refusal to do anything about climate change. This is the article. Last month, the Pentagon withdrew climate change from its national defense strategy, only to turn around and release a report about climate change threatening half of U.S. military sites. And in November, 13 federal agencies released an eyebrow-raising report confirming that humans are undoubtedly the cause of climate change. So, I think there's just too many people who have the education, training, and experience, and the research and the data to say this is, you can sit there and say climate change isn't happening, but it's happening. It's like saying there's no moon anymore. It's in the sky. It's right there. No, it isn't. That's a liberal myth. So this is actually encouraging to me. Yes, they have a big hill to climb, but I think because of this election, I mean, the spending of the money doesn't guarantee it. As we've talked about, Hillary spent $1.5 billion and Trump spent $900 million, and Hillary lost. So pay attention to these people running in these local school board races and your local state assemblies and on the federal level as well. And if there's scientists running and they're going against an incumbent, that might be someone to get behind, because we are in the middle of the 6th extinction event. That's a tongue twister. And so we need scientists to run as politicians. We need progressives. We need people to say climate change is real. We need to do something about it. Because this is the thing I've talked about. And this is where the corporate media is very complicit in this, is they keep providing a reasonable doubt, like a good defense attorney would do with a client that's guilty of murder. Maybe they weren't there. Maybe they didn't do it. Here's the climate change facts. Well, here's the other side of it. Let's just weigh both sides. Because the minute everybody goes, climate change is real, then we pivot away from fossil fuels, which the fossil fuel industry knows this, and that's why they have the people like the Koch brothers spending $400 million. We pivot away from fossil fuels and just go right to the solution. And fossil fuels are nowhere near any solution that's out there. So we don't have time to goof around. We don't have time for neoliberal bullshit. Let's go to the center and let's lesser of two evils. No, fuck that. Fuck that. We are facing extinction. There, I said it. So we need to get behind progressive candidates that are scientists, that are like, we can't back down. Well, I'm in a red district and they don't want to hear about climate change. Talk to them about the money. Look what climate change costs us. Look how many jobs we could have. If you're in a red working class district, then talk in those terms, because they're real, they're accurate. How many jobs we could have if we built wind turbines and solar panels? How many jobs could be provided here in states like West Virginia, very red states? Texas has wind farms. The Dakotas. There's enough wind produced in the Dakotas to provide 60% of America's energy needs. We just need the resources to build them and have the infrastructure and update the power grid. These are all American jobs, right? These are the things we need to pay attention to. Look to other countries that have done this. Many of you that watch this are from other countries. You've given me information. Put the information in the comments below about how other countries are doing this. Other countries have gotten off of Middle Eastern oil. The state of California said we're going to be by 2035 more, they want to have like the whole state only has electric cars in it. That's the kind of forward thinking we need. So back these candidates, pay attention to the ones that are running in your districts on the local level, because who's in your school board and who's in Congress are equally as important. Thanks for watching.